Hello ladies, gentlemen, and NBs. Welcome to yet another episode of Minto ranking video game characters based on how gay they are. I've had two of these videos so far, one for Persona and one for Fire Emblem Three Houses. They've been met with mixed reception to say the least. I know I keep promising that I'll do Danganronpa, but honestly, I have a family, I have a child I have to raise on my own, and I have a job to do, and it just takes a lot of time to research everything for Danganronpa. I promise I'll get to it eventually, but today let's just do something that's much more laid back. Yeah. In celebration of the Switch 2's release and Pride Month, today we're going to be looking at Smash Bros characters, specifically those in Smash Ultimate. You might be thinking, well, there are a lot of characters in Smash, like shouldn't it be easier to focus on one game when you're doing Danganronpa compared to, you know, all these franchises? Well, I know for the last two videos I've arguably done my research on the characters and how I think that translates to how gay they are, but for this one I'm just winging it. I'm just gonna go based completely on vibes alone.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
So this one will be very minimally researched, just based on what I find on Google basically, and from what I remember from playing some of these games. I probably only played like half of these franchises, but you know what, yeah, we're just going on vibes today. Like, fuck it, I don't care.
Game!
Okay, so I'm not gonna do what I did with Persona or Fire Emblem. I'm gonna mainly just rank them based on how gay they are, from S rank to D rank. Again, this is just for fun. This is just my opinion, and just argue in the comments, argue with the wall, I don't care. Okay, looks like first we have Mr. Mario himself. I don't know, throughout his entire history, basically even before he had his own game, he was just chasing after Peach, so I just don't really get much vibes from him. Also, just saying, the fact that he's voiced by Chris Pratt kind of puts him down a notch there. I'm gonna put him in D. I'm not gonna be very generous this time around. Okay, same thing with DK. I don't really know much about him, but there's this one video that just lives rent-free in my head.
DK! Donkey Kong is gay!
So just for that, I'm gonna put him in C maybe. He did start out abducting princesses, so yeah. I'll put him in C for now. Okay, Link. I've only played Breath of the Wild. He's very much a self-insert character, so you can project yourself onto him. But also, from what I remember in Breath of the Wild, there was that one section where you had to, yeah, I'm just gonna, I'll put him in A tier just for that. Like, honestly, him and Zelda obviously have a thing going on, but come on, there's no way I'm gonna put, yeah. Okay, Samus. I don't know much about Samus. I haven't played any of the Metroid games, but upon Googling, I did find this interesting tidbit where before Samus was revealed to be a woman, there was this manga that kind of portrayed her as like surrounded by hot women, and yeah, for that she's going in A tier as well. I don't know who or what Dark Samus is. Is it just a dark version of Samus? I'll put them in A as well because I don't know anything about them. Okay, Yoshi. This one, from what I googled, seems pretty complicated. I think Yoshi has been linked with Birdo, and Birdo's gender has been through some history, to say the least. I'm not sure whether Birdo is like a trans girl or otherwise, but just for that, I think Yoshi probably would have been, it's kind of like a Naoto situation, is it not? Like, I feel like Yoshi probably would have been attracted to Birdo regardless of their gender. Again, I don't know anything about them, so I'm just talking out of my ass. I'll just put Yoshi in A as well. Why not? Okay, here comes Kirby. Let me specify that when we talk about gay in this tier list, we're not just talking about gay as in romantic relationships, we're talking about gender identity too. And Kirby here, well, they're a canonically non-binary icon, so they're going in S rank for sure. I know absolutely nothing about Star Fox, so I definitely don't know where to put Fox right now. I feel like if you're furry bait, then you're probably not that straight. I'll put him in B for now. I really have no clue here, but I don't even play the Star Fox characters in Smash either, so I don't really know much. Okay, Pikachu. So I think Pokemon is probably the franchise I'm most familiar with, but they're Pokemon, so there's not a lot to work with here. Although I think I'm gonna put Pikachu in a B maybe because of the fact that before gender differences were established, all Pikachu had the male tail and they could be attracted to each other regardless of the sprite. So back then the female Pikachu didn't have the heart-shaped tail. So just for that alone, I think I put Pikachu in B tier. Okay, Luigi. Honestly, Luigi's always given me fruity vibes. I don't really know much about his history. I know he's kind of always linked with Daisy, but from what I can tell from my research, he has some kind of thing going on with this guy named Prince Peasley, I think. So who's to say? I'll put him in A tier because that's an interesting thing I'll have to look into. Okay, here we go. I'm not really comfortable rating characters that are clearly really young children, so I'm gonna make a whole tier for them. There we go. Yeah, I don't know anything about Earthbound, but I don't think I'm comfortable rating Lucas and Ness. Okay, I don't know anything about Captain Falcon either, but honestly, I just remember him having the ult with the white and pink color scheme, and like honestly, I don't know if a heterosexual man would be able to pull it off as well as he did, so I'm gonna put him in B, I think. Okay, Jigglypuff. I want to put them in B as well. Like honestly, I feel like it's hard to rate Pokemon because a lot of Pokemon are just species of a creature, and you know, species can have queer members, they can have straight members, and I don't know exactly how to rate them in this game because they're just a representation of one of their species, and I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna put them in B for now. Yeah, that's probably where most of the Pokemon are gonna end up. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. A for being pink. Okay, Peach is kind of girl boss. I feel like she's probably not really interested in Mario from the way she just kisses him on the cheek just to reward him. I don't think she's really interested in Mario at all. I'll just put her in B. I don't know if she's uninterested in men or just Mario in particular, but yeah. I feel like Daisy's even more of a fruity person than Peach is, which is ironic because Peach is literally a fruit. But yeah, I feel like she's also... I feel like her and Luigi, they're like... Maybe they're both bisexual and they just happen to be in a relationship that seems heterosexual, but you know, they're bi. Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting. Okay, Bowser. There's the whole meme about gay Bowser, you know the one. You know, that clip honestly just solidifies the fact that Mario's probably homophobic. That's why he's in D tier. I'll put Bowser in A tier for that. It's a meme, but it's like strong enough for me to consider that true. I don't know anything about the Ice Climbers. I don't even know if they're children or just chibi adults. I really have no clue. And I don't know the nature of their relationship as well. I'm just gonna put them in children. I don't know the ethics of letting children climb mountains on their own, but I don't even know what to rank them anyways. So I'm just gonna put them down there. Okay, next we have Sheik and Zelda. So I don't know much about Sheik's history. I do know that Sheik is supposed to be Zelda in disguise, so I don't know whether it's considered like, oh, this is complicated. I don't know if it's drag or if it's like transformation. I'm not really sure, but just for those, I'm gonna put them in B, I think. Now I'm gonna put Sheik in A just because that is Zelda's drag form, and then Zelda can be in B. Because I don't know much about Zelda. Yeah, I don't know much about Zelda. Just on the fact that she's comfortable with putting on drag, and also her relationship with Link is pretty clear in most of the games, I think. Is Dr. Mario basically Mario as a doctor? Like, okay, he can just join himself down there in D tier, I guess. Although he probably is more empathetic than regular Mario. Like, I can see him being open to gender affirming care and stuff like that. So since Pichu is a baby Pokemon, I'm gonna put them in children. Just, yeah, that makes sense, right? Okay. I know I talked about furry bait earlier, but I do think Falco is probably more queer than Fox himself is. Like, I read that apparently he's asexual, maybe? I'll put him in A, because again, I'm not really sure, but just on vibes alone, he'll be in A tier. Okay, here we go, Fire Emblem characters. I don't know much about Marth. I haven't played his game, and I also think that there isn't a lot of characterization in the earlier Fire Emblem games in terms of relationships, like especially compared to nowadays when every Fire Emblem game has a relationship and element to it. Although I was thinking about it, in the Smash fandom there was this one moment that's really funny.
Flashed him like a gay.
What?
Are you gay?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
Dude, you should be gay. Just be gay.
I think I remember reading that his only romance option in the original game was with a woman, so he's kind of forced to be straight. I'll just put him in C. Is looking kind of sparse. I might put him in C. Okay, I'll put him in B because he's hot. Is that biased? I don't know. Alright, Lucina. I know Awakening was like the game to introduce children and romance and marriage and stuff like that. I feel like Intelligent Systems, if they were brave enough back then, they probably would have included gay romance options in Awakening, especially considering how they are now. So I feel like if that were the case, Lucina probably would have had some gay romance included. So I'm gonna put her in A just for the potential there, even though canonically that's not really possible. I did play Awakening with the game mod installed, so I am kind of influenced by that, but I think A is a good spot for her right now. Okay, Young Link is going into the children tier. Okay, Ganondorf. I don't really know much about him, but I do know that apparently he's meant to have like a lot of women trying to get with him, but he's just so fixated on like warmongering and being a huge dick that he doesn't even care about them. So just like from that alone, he's basically just asexual, aromantic, maybe gay, I don't know. I'll put him in A tier as well. Okay, Mewtwo is interesting because Mewtwo is genderless, so I'm kind of thinking of putting them up there with Kirby because of that. But then again, all legendary Pokemon are genderless, and I don't know what that says about anything, because Mewtwo is genetically modified Pokemon, and yeah, that just opens a whole can of worms that I don't want to get into right now. Let's put them in S. Why not? Let's be consistent. Okay, Roy. I haven't played his game at all, so I don't know anything about him, but I do know that he has several romance options and they're all with women, so that kind of pushes him down. I think he should be in C tier. There's not a lot of people there, so I know I kind of made the exception for Marv, but I don't know. Okay, but Chrom though, you know I'm biased. If you watch the cover video of Confessions of a Rotten Girl that I did, you know that I am a huge Chrom and Robin shipper. I don't know, it's like even the developers themselves are kind of pushing for it sometimes. Like you see in Fire Emblem Heroes, they have the shared marriage Valentine's unit thing. That's like, it's so funny because like they keep trying to push Chrom and male Robin together, like even in Engage, because they want to avoid making Chrom have a canonical female pairing, and it just makes them more gay, and it's like, oh my god. So yeah, I think I'll put him in A tier. Fuck it, I'm biased. This is a biased list. I don't care what you think. Chrom is going up in S tier. Okay, Mr. Game & Watch. This character, does he even have a personality? He's literally just a generic stick figure guy. I don't even know if his game has a plot. So I'm gonna put him in D just because there's nothing to work with here. I don't know what to do about this guy. Okay, Meta Knight. He was part of that clip with Marth, but also I think he's similar to Ganon in the sense that he's just not bothered with romance or sexual relationships. He just probably is Aero Ace and just focused on fighting, I guess. I don't know much about him, but that's what I gathered. Okay, Pit. I don't know anything about Kid Icarus. There hasn't been a game in over 10 years, and I don't know, man. I don't really know about Pit's age. The fact that Kid Icarus is based on Greek mythology, and Greek mythology is famously gay as fuck, so I want to put him in B just on that principle. Again, I don't know much about Pit himself. I guess Dark Pit is a clone of Pit, I think. So he's basically the same person, just emo. So I think it feels fine to put them together up there, yeah. Okay, Zero Suit Samus is just Samus, so I'll put Samus up here. Now that I think about it, Dark Samus is probably an enemy and like probably homophobic or something. I'll put them in D instead. Okay, Wario. I know Wario and Waluigi aren't brothers, so I feel like they probably have something going on. I don't know if it's canon or not, but I think B is a fine spot for Wario. No, wait. By that logic, I'm gonna put him in A. Okay, I haven't played Metal Gear Solid, but correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Snake basically bisexual? He has this whole thing going on with the character named Otakon or something. They have like an adoptive daughter or something, and they live together, I think. So I'm pretty sure he's pretty bisexual, right? I think it's safe to put him in S tier. Yeah. Okay, my man Ike. So I just finished playing Path of Radiance a few days ago, and my god, him and Soren are just basically cut and dry. They're so gay. They're so gay. I haven't played Radiant Dawn, but from what I've seen, they get even more gay. Don't spoil it for me in the comments or anything, but I'm pretty sure they get even more gay by the end of that game. So yeah, Ike definitely up there. Okay, Pokemon Trainer is kind of an interesting thing because I'm pretty sure it's based on Red from Fire Red, and he looks older than 10, even though in the original game he's meant to be 10. I'm just gonna put him in children for now, I guess, because even if I think about manga Red, he's mainly focused on like yellow and green, although a lot of people ship him with blue for good reason. Doesn't he show up with blue in one of the games, Ultra Sun, is it? But either way, I think I'm gonna leave him in children for now because I don't know, he doesn't look like any of these children. Let's just put him in C. I don't think there are a lot of interpersonal relationships to be had in the Red and Blue games anyway, so I think I'll just leave him at C for now. Okay, I'm gonna put all the Pokemon in B, although there's this manga where a Squirtle is canonically gay, so that might bump him up to A, but the other two probably not. So yeah, Squirtle goes in A and the other Pokemon in B, I guess. I don't know anything about Diddy Kong either. He does seem like a children age sort of deal. I'll put him there because I honestly don't know where to put him otherwise either. He just seems younger, even though he probably is in his teenage years at least. Speaking of children, yeah. Okay, Sonic, here we go. Wow, how do I deal with this guy? So, you know that I ship Sonic and Shadow. But canon Sonic, I don't know. I feel like he's probably Ace, Aero, at least for now in Sonic canon. He doesn't seem to really reciprocate any feelings that Amy has, but I think that's just his personality of wanting to be free and like unattached. So by that metric, I'll put him in B for now. You know, coming from me who ships him with Shadow, that seems low, but okay, that is low. I'll put him in A. Yeah, I just don't think that Sonic is really bothered with this kind of stuff. Okay, I don't know much about King Dedede, but I do know that he seems very gay in my eyes. Apparently there's some queer subtext between him and another character in the anime. I'm gonna put him in A just on vibes alone, but that also kind of bumps it up too. Okay, so I was gonna put Olimar in the children category until I googled it and found out that he's in his 30s or 40s. So scratch that. So that shows how much I know about Pikmin. But apparently he's married. He has a wife and kids, so I'm gonna put him in D, unfortunately. I really don't get that vibe from him either, so... Okay, Lucario is a Pokemon, so that puts him in B, I guess. With my rule about furry bait, I think it bumps him up to A at least. I'll put him in A for the gays. I did this for you furries. Okay, Rob is literally a robot. I have no clue how to... He needs his own category, I think. And Toon Link, I think he's a child as well, so I'll put him there. Okay, Wolf. I don't know anything about him either. I just know that he's apparently the rival of Fox, and you know how I feel about the rivals of protagonists being secretly in love with the other. I think he gets in at a B just purely on being furry bait, but I'll bump him up to A just on that principle alone. It's my list, okay? Just deal with it. Okay, the villager is kind of in a weird place for me, because on one hand, if you're playing single player, they're the only human on the island. He's just surrounded by animals. Also, this is based on New Horizons because it's the only one I've played. I guess you can make a case where if you have a guest on your island and you're, you know, dating them in real life, he can be gay. But at the same time, in the world, if you're just... It doesn't really translate to in the game itself. So it's kind of in a weird place for me. I think just on the fact that he's such a self-insert character, I might just put an S because he can literally be whatever you want. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Is Mega Man... Mega Man's a robot, right? Is he considered a child? Where do I put him? Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, the Wii Fit trainer. What do I do about them? Are they not? I don't know. I've never played Wii Fit. Are they meant to be self-inserts or just like actual trainers who just teach you? I don't know. Either way, they kind of give fruity vibes, so I'll put them in B, I guess. They're like a little bit fruity, but also just really into fitness. Maybe that's their main motivation, just fitness. Okay, not sure about Rosalina, but I do think that it's highly unlikely, but if Nintendo were to ever come out and say that a character is gay, they wouldn't make it an established character that's been in a franchise for a long time. So the fact that Rosalina is a relatively new character probably lends itself more to the possibility that she could be. So I'll put her in B, I guess, mainly because I don't really know much about her, but I think that would make sense. Okay, so I don't know about you, but to me, wrestling and boxing and like a lot of these physical, manly sports just always seem just a bit, tiny bit gay to me. So I think Little Mac just, I don't know, the hands-on skin-to-skin contact, it always screams like just a tad bit queer. So I'll put him in B just on vibes alone because I don't really know much about him. Is Greninja considered furry bait? I don't know to what extent furry bait means because I'm not a furry. Just the fact that he's a humanoid Pokemon, I'll put him in B just for consistency's sake. The Mii fighters are essentially self-inserts, right? If you use your own Miis, they're basically you. And if you're gay, then the Mii is gay. I know they have skins of other characters like Sans. I think just on the idea that they're self-inserts kind of puts them in S rank. I think a lot of customizable characters just follow that principle. I think the difference between the villagers and the Mii fighters compared to other self-insert protagonists like, let's say, Link or the Pokemon trainer is the fact that you get to customize them so much that they look exactly like you and they're really just devoid of any personality. I don't really know much about Palutena. Again, though, just because based on the fact that she's in a game inspired by Greek mythology, I'm gonna put her in B just on the fact that they're just really gay. Okay, I don't know. Pac-Man is... I know he's married to Miss Pac-Man. I don't really have much to work with here. I'm just gonna put Pac-Man in D. Actually, I might put him to C just because he looks like a C. Just roll with it, okay? I don't know what I'm doing. Robin is easy. I'm just gonna put him right here next to his husband. And also the fact that he's the self-insert character, so you can essentially just make him romance whoever you want. Well, I mean, that's true for most Fire Emblem characters in general. I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles, but it is on my list. I will get to it eventually. So I don't know much about Shulk. I think I've read that he is married to a woman. He does seem kind of pretty. I'll put him in C. He's cute and he's British, so I'll leave him at C for now. And Bowser Jr. is a child, so he's right down there. Man, I don't know. I know they're not the only animals, but compared to like Fox and the Pokemon, oh my god, it is a weird middle ground, isn't it? Man, I don't know, man. I can't think about animals right now. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, I don't know about Street Fighter either. I've read that Ryu kinda is on the same vein as Ganondorf and Meta Knight or the like, who are just asexual because they're just so focused on one goal and romance and relationships don't interest them at all. So I'll put him as an A just for being asexual, I guess. Ken has a wife from what I've read, so that bumps him down a little bit. There's some sort of tension between Ken and Ryu, I feel, so I think I'm gonna put him in B just because I get the vibe there. Okay, I'll put him down to C just to keep him in line with Shulk, I guess. Okay, Cloud Strife now. So I've just finished playing FF7 Remake. I haven't played Rebirth or the original game, so I don't really know how everything develops. But from what I can tell, it's like the game is trying to push these 3 women onto Cloud here. And obviously you have to choose who you kind of end up with. Throughout the game, I just keep thinking that Cloud is getting attention from all these 3 beautiful women, but his mind is just so fixated on Sephiroth. Just from that fact alone, I just read him as, you know, he could potentially be bisexual. That's all I'm saying. It's just, I know he's traumatized, like that's what's happening, but in my mind that's just what I'm thinking. Like he's just so fixated on Sephiroth that he doesn't have time for these 3 women. But yeah, I'll just put him in A just for that headcanon of mine. Alright, we have our canon bisexual in Corrin, so they're going right up there. I did play Fates with a game mod, but I know that in the actual game you can romance the other gender. So okay, don't know much about Bayonetta. I have her game, I haven't played it yet. I did read that she has an interesting relationship with another female character. I think she flirts with basically anyone, so I'm gonna put her in A just because I think that she probably is pansexual. She probably just flirts with everyone. Alright, so the Inkling. I don't really know much about Splatoon, but I just get the vibe that it's very accepting and very open with very, you know, gender neutral customization options and stuff like that. There's a lot of gender neutral character designs, especially in the later games. And I just feel like, yeah, because of that, they're probably pretty queer. I think these are self-insert characters, I'm not sure, but I think it's fine to put them in A. Oh, what am I gonna do about Ridley? I don't know anything about Ridley either. I just know that he's the big boss of Metroid, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like he hates Samus so much that if he hears about Samus being a lesbian, you know, being up here in A tier, then he'd probably be against that. He'd probably be homophobic just for that. I'll put him in D because, yeah, I have no clue what else to do with him. Okay, Simon, I think it's safe to say that he's probably not. He does have children because Richter is a descendant of him. I don't know anything about Castlevania, so I know Castlevania is pretty good with the queer representation, right? I don't know. I heard that the Netflix series has several queer characters. I've never seen it. I guess I'll put him in C just because, you know, he has children and a wife, but I'm not discounting the possibility that he might be queer. I think Richter might be in the same boat, just he gives similar vibes to Simon, he has a girlfriend, but I could also see him potentially swinging both ways, maybe. Okay, King K. Rool. During my research, I came across this video from, I think, DK Country, the animated show, where he sprays his henchman with a love potion, which makes him fall in love with him, and K. Rool just sort of panics. So part of me is probably thinking he's straight and he just doesn't vibe with that, or he could just be gay panicking, and I kind of like that interpretation, so I'm gonna put him in B just for that. I don't know what else he is, but that's kind of funny to think about. So I didn't know this, but apparently Isabelle is canonically pansexual because she can fall in love or like has a crush on the player character regardless of gender. So yeah, that's wrong, Isabelle. I did not expect that, but it was cool to see it. Okay, we had the whole discussion about Pokemon and furry bait and stuff, and also the thing about wrestling being kind of queer. So Incineroar is all of that packed into one. But the fact that Pokemon with these designs still have a certain percentage chance of being like the other gender, like Incineroar having a 12% chance of being female, yeah, there's that whole conversation too. Okay, okay, we're down to our DLC characters. Joker. Well, if you want to go watch my Persona gay ranking video, you can do that, and you'll see exactly where I stand with Joker here. Yeah, I see him as bi and pansexual. Canonically, I've had time to think about it. Like, that video is really old. It's like one of the first videos I ever did. I was probably not as confident as I am now. You know, he is a self-insert character. He can be whatever you want him to be. I still see him as bi and pan. I'll put him in A. Okay, I don't play Dragon Quest, but I did see that you can kind of romance the male characters. It's not, I think it's more of a bromance, but you could read it as a romantic, like you get the choice to. So I think I can put it in B. I'll put him in A. Okay, I don't know about Banjo and Kazooie as well. I think just the vibes of the game doesn't scream like anything of a romantic nature from anyone in the game, or like sexuality wise. So I feel like I'm gonna put them in C. Terry I'm not familiar with, but I feel like he's probably in the same vein as like Ryu, where he's just so focused on fighting where he doesn't really care about relationships. So I'll put him in A as well. Yeah. Okay, Byleth is another canonical bisexual or pansexual person, so Byleth is going to S rank as well. You can go check out the Three Houses video I did as well. I don't know enough about Min Min, but just based on vibes alone, I think she's probably a B tier. She just gives that kind of vibe. She gives fruity, yeah. Chicken Jockey. Okay, to preface, I have not seen the Minecraft movie, but I heard there's a lot of homoerotic subtext between Steve and another guy in the movie. You know, Jack Black and I don't know who. So, yeah, I'm gonna put him in A just for that. He is, I don't know about the game character, but yeah, I'll just put Steve in A for now. I'm not sure if Steve is like a self-insert character, but if he is, then yeah, he could be gay if you want to. Okay, you've heard me talk about Sephiroth when I was talking about Cloud, but I don't know much about Sephiroth. He might show up more when I play the future games, but for now, you know, from what I know about him is he just enjoys stalking Cloud so much that, yeah, I feel like it's pretty safe to put him in A at least. Okay, Pyrrha and Mithra. I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles, and when I was doing my research, I was really trying hard not to spoil myself because I do want to get to those games. From what I've read, they're in a relationship with a guy, and they're kind of like Are they two separate beings or are they just different forms of... They're two separate beings, right? And they're both in a relationship with the guy. So are they like polyamorous? Are they in a throuple? Or I don't know how they work. I really don't know much about them. I'm just gonna put them in B. No, I'll put them in C. Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know about Kazuya from Tekken. I think he's implied to have a relationship with a woman. He doesn't seem to give me the vibes of being anywhere queer, so I'll put him in D, just based on vibes. Sorry. And finally, we have Sora. I'm currently playing Kingdom Hearts. I've just finished the second game, or Kingdom Hearts Recon, and I'm getting to Kingdom Hearts 2 next. So based on what I've seen, they're obviously setting up Sora and Kairi, but I'm just saying Sora and Riku. I feel like Riku, for his part, probably does have feelings for Sora. I don't know if it's reciprocated in any way. Yeah, I'll put Sora in maybe a B tier. I could see him, you know, I could see him going the other way, but he does seem to just like Kairi at the moment. From what I've seen, I haven't played the other games yet. Okay, that's every character. Let me just reorder them a bit and we'll see how this ends up. Okay, I think this is a good enough list. I kind of made it more distinct where S rank is, you know, the ones that are canonically basically confirmed to be queer in some way. And then A rank is ones that are heavily implied to be queer or could be read as queer. And then B rank are those that have really strong vibes of being queer, or those that have been in straight relationships but could be viewed as queer as well. And C rank is where things get basically a bit more ambiguous and gray, where they're kind of, you know, in a canonical straight relationship and where it's hard for me to kind of make an argument for them being queer, but they could be. And then D rank is where I'm like really struggling to see how they could be queer. It's just my view. Yeah, it's just my opinion. So yeah, this is my list. Again, not a lot based on verifiable facts. This is just what I found on Google or just based on vibes alone, but this is where things are. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments whether you agree with my choices or whether you don't. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I guess I'll see you in June of next year for another one of these tier rankings. I can't make any promises, but I'll try to make a Danganronpa one. I will really try. Yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to. I post gaming videos and other miscellaneous stuff on the channel. And leave a like and all that if you want to. Thanks for coming by.